Howdy, folks, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And tonight, boy, oh boy, I guess things got screwed up. The AI was playing tricks on me and put it at 5:15. I swear I put it at 9 o'clock like I always do. But I don't know what happened there. It was just one of those things. I should have maybe went back and checked it. Yeah, I know. Nina, bees, you've been waiting for 6 hours. Oh gosh. Anyway, yeah, it was a darn numbers change or something. My dyslexia, you know. Anyhow, all is good. We're back. We always see. I don't understand it, people. We always come on in the same time every week, every Saturday, unless I don't come on at all. So why would I be on it? Unless it's something special, and then I would let you know. But we always come on at the same time every single week. So I hope y'all want to welcome my co-host guest, Grandpa Brian, because he's coming on right now. And we're going to be talking about, of all things this week, vegetables, gardening, planting, all that kind of good stuff. We're going to be talking about that. If you plant it or not, we should all be planting something, regardless if it's a flower or whatever. Anyway, as soon as he gets on, it looks like he's trying to, but we're gonna see. Oh, thank you, Scotty boy. We still love you. Yeah, okay. I know. Yeah, Max is gonna be coming on really early again. No important announcement. It was just the numbers got screwed up. I swear I put 9 o'clock, but you might have an important announcement. I never saw the early notifications, just came here now. Yeah, see, that's the thing. When I put it up there, I hit 9 o'clock. And now when I checked it, it said 5:15. And I'm thinking, why would I put 5:15? I never put 5:15. I always put 9 o'clock. I would never think of putting 9. Anyway, thing is, we always come on at the same time, regardless of what I say. Same time every week. Every Saturday, it's always 9 o'clock. Unless it's something really important and I let you all know. Put it that way. Hope Grandma Brian's got a good connection. Looks like he's having a little bit hard time getting on here. Keeps coming in and out. But if y'all want to come on and talk about gardening or something, yes, Scotty Boy loves seeds. I bet you'll love pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds too. Yeah, who doesn't? Does peanuts count? Almonds, those are seeds, aren't they? Yes. Yeah, that's when I come on all the time. Same time, every week, Nina. Same time, all the time. Yeah. Anyway, welcome everybody. Tonight we're going to be talking about vegetables and planting and gardening. And guess what? I'm putting in my garden. So I did a little videotaping. Yeah, videotaping. And of course, I thought it was to be live from the garden when you saw that. No. Sorry. No, live from the garden. Nope, not live from the garden. No, I don't know why that notification. It's not letting me in. I don't know what I'll send you a new link. How's that? Grandpa Brian, I'll send you a new link. And then we'll see what we can do from there. I don't know why it's not letting you in. It says you're here, and I added you to the stage. I keep trying. I don't know. Okay, I'll send you a new link right here. Just give me a second, everybody. I'll get that copied. Anybody that grows vegetables, you want to come on and talk about it. Just I'm going to put a link. I can't do two things at one time. See, I can do things right, but I just don't know. Oh, there he is. There he is. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Good deal. There you are.
Yeah, I don't know why it kept taking me to another page every time I enter into the studio. You start spinning, then they take me to another page.
Huh. How about that? Well, I guess it is what it is. It's just Smokin' G was supposed to come on tonight. Smokin' G Sharp, she was gonna join us. I see a little gardening. Anybody else got gardens? Zigzagzilla, I invited him. He always grows an awesome garden. But if you grow a garden, you got some of your vegetables or something you want to talk about and tell us. Link is in the chat. If you got garden stuff, you know how to plant something, you want good questions like, how do I plant a garden? What do I do? Where do I start? We got the two experts right here. And one of them is Grandpa Brian. Now, you didn't plant much this year, did you?
No, my greenhouse ended up getting destroyed by some high winds, and it destroyed everything that I had growing in there.
Oh, no.
And then we got cold weather. And then when I left and went to Trina's, I had them sitting outside because it was warm. Well, we just got storm after storm after storm, and it basically flooded them out.
Wow.
So I'm having to start from scratch.
Welcome, Andrew Phillips.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Going good.
Good. How are you?
Hey, great. Thanks.
Are you a gardener?
I am. Very much so. I love it.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Well, now we have three best gardeners on the show.
We've already harvested some strawberries and lettuce and spinach and some squash and got some baby cucumbers and tomatoes growing.
Wow. You're way ahead.
Yeah.
What part of the country you live in? We're
in Georgia.
Oh, you're a good month and a half ahead of us over here. I'm in North Dakota, and I should have maybe planted last week, but I did get a few things. I got the garden tilled and then a few tomatoes in last week, but I did most of the planting this weekend. I'm limited on time. So
I think we're all limited on time. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And but if you guys want, I got a little bit of something to play, and we can watch that. And you tell me if you do anything different. I was planting tomatoes, and maybe we can talk a little bit about this afterwards. And everybody's got their own way of planting, right? So this is my way of planting here. And away we go. Okay, so this is the garden so far. Some of them are small.
They're all doing real good.
Do you notice everything is in buckets?
It looks like you've got some great soil.
Yeah, the soil is good. I mean, I can dig a shovel full of soil up. This is the first year at this new place I'm at. And the first shovel of soil, you'll turn up at least 3 or 4 worms in each shovelful.
Wow.
And, in order to have good soil, you got to have worms. And boy, you could just dig worms out there all day long. Robins ain't starving. Put it that way.
So when I started, it was probably 2011, 2012. And I had chickens and garden stuff. And then I got rid of the chickens for a few years. And when I started tilling up and digging up their old coop, I was finding a ton of worms. So I started taking those worms and putting them in all of my raised beds and my other garden beds. And they're just so prolific now. Even with the rabbits, I have the rabbits raised up. And so all their manure drops to the ground. And every couple of months I shovel it up. and it's unreal how many worms that I get, and I put in the raised beds, or I've got buckets like that, like you've got, and potato bags. I've got, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 potato bags and potatoes in pots, and I just put worms in all of them every time I plant.
Oh, stop right there. Potato bag?
Yeah, you have never grown potatoes in a bag?
No, never have. Grandpa Brian, how about you?
No.
No.
No,
Really?
Explain to us in great detail. This is fascinating, man.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe.
Can you
All
show
right,
us?
I'm going to try and show you. It's kind of dark outside. Let me put on some slippers, and maybe I can get enough light where you can see them.
I never grew a potato in a bag. You buy them in the store in a bag. That's where you get them.
There you go. That's it.
Lost
So,
Grandpa Brian there. Come on back.
so you can grow them in like a 55-gallon trash bag. You can grow them in a big bucket, like the 5-gallon buckets, or I have a construction company, so I work behind a lot of landscapers, and I'll save their pots from all their plants they've put in the yard, and grow things in them. I've got strawberries in them, and a bunch of other stuff. Okay, so let's see if you can see some of these. Can you see any of those?
Yeah, yeah.
So these are all new bags this year, right? So there's russet potatoes, red potatoes, Yukon Gold potatoes. They've all been growing for a few months now. And then over here, you probably can't see these because it's so dark. That bucket is sweet potatoes, and that one, yeah, I was afraid it'd be kind of dark. But I've got a whole lot of beds. These are beans I planted. These are pole beans I planted a week ago or a week and a half ago. And on the other side of those, I don't know if you can see them, are some cucumbers I planted at the same time.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. So if it was earlier, I could show you a lot more, but it's we have a small yard, but I love it. I absolutely love gardening.
Nice. I love the potato bag idea. That's just cool. Just a big bag and put them in. Neato. And you just water them there and in the bag, and it just drains out. It just works that way.
Yeah, just drains right out the bottom, and then after about 120 days, it's time to harvest. You just dump the bag out on the ground on a tarp or a piece of plastic or the concrete, and then you just sift them out, and you get all your potatoes from it. And then you can just scoop the soil back up and put it back in your buckets or your bags for next year.
Nice.
Wow.
That is way cool. I think I might have to try that just through an experiment.
It is. Yep. I was hoping maybe there might be more light. There's not. You probably won't be able to see these. Yeah, it's going to be too dark. I was going to try and show you one of my hoops that has cucumbers and cantaloupe growing on it, and squash on one side and tomatoes and basil on the other, but it's too dark. I'd have to get a flashlight or something.
Grandpa Brian, aren't you jealous?
Oh, yes.
So this was an experiment. Maybe you can see these. Can you see all those flower heads?
Yeah.
Those are carrots.
Oh, those are carrots? They're they're seeded out already?
So those are last year's. I never harvested them in the fall. I let that little raised bed beside my driveway go so that I could try and propagate the seeds and then harvest the seeds. And so the seed heads aren't quite ready yet, but they are the prettiest flowers. You'd never think it, but the honeybees and the bumblebees, they absolutely love them.
Wow. Huh. Well, that's pretty darn cool.
Thank you.
That
Yes,
is
it
pretty
is.
cool. I'm glad you're. And how big of a space do you have for your garden?
Oh goodness. Well, everything is spread out. We only own a quarter acre, so we try and every year add raised beds or in-ground beds or more pots. Like on the other side of the house, I've got this year's brand new. I've got 2 cattle panels making a hoop, and then I have pots on both sides of it, 3 on each side of the cattle panel. And I've got 2 cattle panels. So we've got 3, 6, 9, 12 watermelon plants that are growing and will grow up over the hoop. And then I put in a new, my grapes had died. So I put in 4 or 5 new grapes this year on that same side. I haven't, I put in some new 6x6 posts, but I haven't strung the wire for them because they're still, less than a foot tall. The grapes are, but one of them we went ahead and bought at Lowe's, and it has grapes on it. And we picked a few of those today and ate those. They're a little bitter, but I like them. A little like sour bitter. But I don't know. I don't know. I've got a lot of raised beds in a lot of places. I grow enough. It doesn't feed our household, but of any one thing, it's usually more than what we can eat, and I usually end up giving it away.
Nice. It's always good to share. Yeah, like
Absolutely.
You had a big garden. You way more than what you could eat probably. I seen the pictures last year of your garden. You can it all, or you give it away too?
I can and give away.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I gave away a lot too.
Things like broccoli.
And we bought a freeze dryer a little over a month ago, so we're hoping to freeze dry some herbs and things like that this year too for the first time.
Yeah, I bought a freeze dryer too this year. I haven't even taken it out of the box yet. Shame on me, bad. But I've been so busy trying to get the garden planted and fence put up, and between that and working, it's just pulling me at both ends. But it's in the box, and I'm gonna get to it one of these days here, quickly. I mean, it ain't gonna go bad, But one of those harvest right. I think I got like a medium size, and how does that work? Does it work pretty good? I hear good things.
Oh yeah, we've only done one batch so far, and that was a few weeks ago. And we did eggs because we've got chickens, and so we had about 60 eggs over a couple of week period. And so we cracked them, scrambled them all up, put them in the trays, and then freeze dried them, and that turned out really good.
Now watch some of those guys once they're powder or on the trays, they put them in a blender and they just make them into powder. Is that what you did, or?
Oh no, they were so dry it would crumble. We took a spatula and broke it into pieces, and then we poured it into a mixing bowl and just kind of went around with a spoon, and it broke up, and then we just poured it into the mason jars and canned it like that.
Wow.
And it sounds like I've probably got the same freeze dryer you do, Robert. It's I think it's a medium sized one. We've been looking at them, and I was going to order one, and my nephew sent me a Facebook link one Saturday morning, and it was a Harvest Right freeze dryer, and the guy wanted a really good price for it. And so I sent him a message. He responded right away, and I said, "How do you want payment?" And he said, "Cash." I said, "Okay, I'll be there at 10 o'clock. That way I got time to go to the bank." And it was great. I mean, he started giving us a whole bunch of stuff for free.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice. Why did he quit using it?
He actually had 2. So
Wow.
yeah. So he was getting rid of one, and they had bought both of them. They were selling candy. They were freeze drying candy and selling it. And so it just got to where one was plenty for them because they weren't selling enough to need two, and they were going to sell their house. And so they were starting to work because he said come into summer, first of fall, they wanted to put it on the market. So he needed to start getting rid of stuff.
Nice. Good deal for you.
It was a great deal for us. A great deal. It was perfect. You know, universe sent it to us right when we needed it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, there's
Yep.
you know, there's always a canning thing. Grandpa Brian, what do you can now? Like I've canned peaches and made jams. And do you can your vegetables like the beans and the carrots? And I did the tomatoes too. I did some pickled beets. Yeah. Is he frozen? I think he's frozen. Grandpa Brian, you frozen?
Maybe.
He's been having a little bit of. Oh, there he is.
Yeah. So what I can: green beans, tomato salsa, tomato juice.
I don't see him moving. Maybe he is frozen.
I'm trying to up his volume. So there we go. Go ahead. You look like you're moving now. Green beans and what else? Tomato juice?
Tomato juice, salsas. I want to start getting
Maybe you lost his volume.
And Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts. Did you hear Brussels sprouts? Yeah, Brussels sprouts. Cool. I put in some Brussels sprouts this year too. So that's cool. I like Brussels sprouts. Cabbage too. I'm a big cabbage guy.
Here.
But how's the soil there by you, Grandpa Brian?
I know there's never been any chemicals on this property. It's not all that great. That's why I found this absolutely new soil that I got. It's a mushroom compost mix. So as we know about mushrooms, they help rebuild the ecosystem. So by using this soil, it's actually creating the ecosystem for me to be able to grow these vegetables.
Nice.
That's great.
I know. Did you ever see the show where I had Gaza Cav on, and he talks big time about, you know, getting the soil, mixing it with all kinds of stuff and growing things. And that, of course, that's in Australia. But I think Zigzagzilla does that too. You know, so things like that. But it's good soil is very important. It really, really is. Okay, we're going to go back to the gardening. Okay, here we go. Since we'll finish this up. And today we're going to plant some more. So that's what I got. What do we got here? Vegetable, tomato celebrity. This one is super sweet tomato. We have a Marzano. That's Marzano. And we have a Heartbreaker tomato. Looks like there's a good thick stem. They're already flowering. Then we have a real big giant one. This is a cherry tomato. Super sweet, 100. And last but not least, we got the big beef tomato. Yeah, they don't look so good because they've been sitting on the porch for a while. We're going to get them planted today. So here we go. I think that's the end of that. Okay, then we got, so then, why does it do that? It's going to make me do another one. So I put my stuff in, if you notice, I put my stuff in buckets. It helps, like out here.
Robert, I think you froze up. There you go. You're moving again now.
Oh, I am. I damn internet is really giving me a hard time. Oh man, I tell you. But like I said, so then we get more. Here we go. Let's. So I put the buckets on because the buckets quit the wind from blowing. And then what I'll do is I'll put a one of those tomato cages, and then I'll put a stake. So once the tomato gets above the buckets, then you have to like tie it to the stake. Otherwise, the wind gets bad and it'll blow it over. You gonna believe it or not?
Oh yes.
Here we got.
There's your Brussels sprouts.
Healthy Brussels sprouts. Don't they look good?
I'll freeze dry some, Grandpa Brian, and send them to you.
We got some cabbage. Cabbage looks good. And more cabbage. Who doesn't like cabbage? Nice healthy plants. Okay, that's what's next.
It was kind of windy out that day, so. But anyway, I got cabbages planting. I did a little bit of everything because I didn't know what was who had what. But this is just a little bit of stuff that I got planned. Which one's this? Oh, okay. Here we go. This is my tomato planting. Now I don't know if you guys do different tomato planting, but if you do, just give me a shout out and I'll stop the video for a second and tell me your ideas on tomato plant. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, I start by making this nice trench in the ground. And a little bit hard soil. So then take my plant and I pinch off some of these.
Don't know how hard this is to do one-handed.
Oh, I know it's got to be hard.
Break them just quick like. I'm going to take that pot out of the soil, just like so. I don't need this little sticker thing. And I'm going to break that root up a little bit, get it kind of right out of the soil. Okay, so she's kind of loosens up those roots. I'm going to lay her in the ground. Nice, steady. It's all along the stem. I'm going to get a bunch of roots. This is all going to become roots. So I got me a good root base. Then the sun's going to shone down on it. You can just throw these leaves right in for some extra fertilizer. That'll become compost. And then, of course, I just cover this back up with some of this dirt that I've scooped out. And I leave this sticking up, kind of prop it up there a little bit. Some chunks of dirt. I'll water it later, get it all firmed down. Just put a bunch of dirt around there. Because everywhere there's dirt, there's going to be some roots. You know, she's already flowering, the flowers. So that'll start producing tomatoes right away. Okay, now she's in the ground there. I'm going to give me some kind of a cover. Now, you don't have to be anything expensive, but in this area, the wind blows a lot. So to get it started, sometimes I use a bucket like this. Or right here, I got this was some big heavy-duty PVC pipe. I think it was switch pipe or something like that. I don't know what it was, but it's there. And I cut it in chunks. So I can put it around the plant. That kind of protects it. And I'll just put her up in there. And stuff will blow away. And I can add some dirt around here to fill in the blanks. And again, like I said, the more I fill in, the more roots it's going to grow. So this is pretty good soil. You know, careful what you plant. And there you go. You have yourself a nice plant. Now this will all, it'll grow up tall like so. What we'll do is
sorry about the jiggling.
I got these T-posts. Oh. And I got a T-post here. Let's see, I got a T-post. I'm going to take this and I'm going to drive it into the ground. And then I'll tie that tomato plant right onto that T-post as it grows up. And if you got the time, or if you got the supplies, you can also use these tomato racks. I'm going to put one of these on right now. Just firm it up. I have to bend these things back in here.
Harder to do when you're holding the camera.
These things.
Absolutely. It's hard enough with two hands.
Put them on. Push them down into the ground. Make sure you.
Once you put it in there, it fits like perfect. I mean, it's about the same roundness as that PVC pipe. Like
Oh, yeah.
pipe for free, and I just had to cut it. They were throwing it away. Kind of like you going to the construction site.
Get held in there good and tight. As you can see, my tomato plant, he's all ready to go. At least for a few weeks till it grows up, and I'll put my stake in, and then tie my tomato plant up to it. And I'll have nice, big, tall, bushy tomatoes full of tomatoes. And there you go. There's a tomato plant.
What do you think of that?
That's great. I love it.
Well, what do you do with your tomatoes? I mean, anything different or the same or?
Basically the same. I don't always lay them sideways, depending on if they're long like yours. Then I'll bury them sideways like that. If they're not, then I'll just cut the lower limbs off and bury them deep, so just the top of the plant is out. And then as they grow, I'll prune the bottom limbs off of it, so it can get some air and it's not touching the ground. I usually use a wire cage that's about 5-6 feet tall, made from the wire that they put in concrete when they pour concrete on a construction site. And so the ones I've had for, I don't know, 12, 15 years. They're rusted and
much heavier gauge wire.
It is. They were much harder to make too. But I have to stake those down, because if we get a bad storm, like you've got winds and you've got that plant 5 or 6 feet tall and it catches all that wind, that whole cage will fall over on there. And some of them I stake, but I don't use a T-post. I use a 2x4 that I rip and make a 2x2 out of, and then I cut a point at the bottom of it. And since I do fencing installs for a living, I've got a post driver, and so I put the post driver on top of it and drive it down in there. Last year, I had some tomatoes that grew really good. They didn't produce very well, but they were over 6 feet tall. They grew all the way up to the top of the stakes and bent over and started growing back down to the ground.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. Yeah, these, my buddy, he had grown out here before, and last year I think his were a good 4 foot or so tall for out here. So that's pretty good. We got a pretty short growing season too. So, what I wanted to say, here's a good question for you. Now, you've probably seen this. It's been all over the internet where they take copper and they wrap it around and then they stuff it in the ground. Do you think that has any credibility?
Yes and no. We have a bunch of them,
Oh, you do?
and that bed with those tomatoes I was talking about, we had those in that bed. But after researching last year, I found one video that talked about it, and I didn't do it. But the story the lady tells, it's a long story, but basically, it needs to be a certain gauge copper, which is a thicker gauge, like a 10 gauge or an 8 gauge, I believe. It has to have a minimum of so many twines per foot of height that you have. But then the copper shouldn't just stick into the soil. It should run north to south in the bed, and the copper should be buried in the ground all the way to another one that comes back up on the north side or the south side, wrapped the same number of turns. And it has to be a minimum number of wraps. I think it's like, I want to say it's 16 wraps on there. But we've got them inside too. We've got small sticks with small copper wire wrapped around them, and it could just be speaking it into existence. But for instance, pothos, they grow pretty well already, an indoor house plant, right? But the ones that my wife has put those into seem to grow faster than the ones that don't have them in it. So, a lot of people say it's voodoo, but I think if you do it the right way, I think it makes a difference.
Interesting. That's something I want to try and experiment with this year if I can get the time to do it. But yeah, it's I never knew anybody who did it, but well, maybe it does work. I'm thrilled. Cool.
Yeah. I believe that there is a science behind it, So, but I think it works if you do it the right way, But a lot of it has to do with, I'm a big believer in soil. The life is in the soil, and if you're not spraying chemicals and pesticides and everything like that, and the microfungal, however they pronounce it, can live and breathe and grow in the soil, you're going to develop really good soil. And we've got some beds that do better than others, but I've got 3 brand new beds that with brand new soil that I bought from the landscape store and put in there. And we've got more lettuce than we can eat. We're picking bush beans out of it already. And we've already had 3 squash that we've picked. We've got cucumbers that are growing, tomatoes that are growing, and those are all in 3 brand new beds, So, and Grandpa Brian was talking about the mushrooms earlier. He's right. Mushrooms are critical in the soil, I believe, along with worms, because they really help that life in the soil and get it going. On all that new soil I had, you should have seen it when it rained. It just, all the mushrooms just popped up, just quick as could be. But they only last for about a day. If it gets too hot, which it does here in Georgia, then they die out by 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon because it gets too hot for them and it burns them up.
Yeah, it is a lot warmer there. Yes. Well, definitely. Cool. It looks like Mary Wynn says that the copper keeps the critters out of the garden too. So I don't know. It's something to think about. I got a lot of copper laying around. Maybe, like it says, if it's going to help, why not? Right?
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's see. We got more. Don't worry. We're not done yet. Oops. What did I do? Oh, I hit the thing and I hit the wrong button. There we go. Our next video.
Well, now we're moving on to cabbages. Don't they look good?
You plant cabbage
Got
too?
some Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, I've got some cabbage growing.
Cool.
I'm
I actually planted it last fall, and it didn't do very good in the fall. But now that it warmed up, it's starting to do really good.
Really? Cool.
Yeah.
got things on the little fork.
There's my handy dandy fork. I love that
Measure
thing.
this off. 1, 2, and then dig my hole.
You love my this is how I get my rows straight. I use this big stick and I just lay it down on the ground. And of course, if you get the first 2 or 3 going one way, the stick, you just plant against the stick. You don't have to run a string or nothing like that. It works pretty
That's
good.
fantastic.
It's not the best thing, but I got a big garden, so
I got my
It looks like you do.
to kind of guide me down my
it's pretty
road.
big.
And that's how I do it. I just got hard soil here, so I'm kind of chopping it out. As you can see, this is a pretty good soil. Got some nice big dangly worms in here.
My work.
See, we get a bunch of worms. So I know this is pretty
Not bad chopping them up.
soil. I
But
dig some out. Now with the cabbage, I don't peel anything off. I just break up the roots a little bit here, so they can.
do you break up the roots too when you get a plant?
Absolutely, yeah. And
Okay, I wonder-
we'll split plants too, right? Like, so if we get a tomato that's got 2 of them in there,
Yeah.
we'll break those apart and plant them as 2 separate tomatoes, or just about anything. We went to the store today and bought some plants, and we got home and the wife there were house plants we bought, but she took them all apart and cleaned the roots out and broke them from 3 plants in one pot into 3 individual pots.
Wow. Nice. Okay.
They know start growing. Dig it in.
Glad I'm not the only one.
And I fill it in. Kind of hunker her down so she's good to go here. Put my worm back in there so you don't die. Gotta have all the worms you can get. Okay. There's my cabbage. All planted. Kind of nice. 4 more to go. 3 more to go. Look at that. 1 cabbage down.
Oh,
I love the stick because I do the same thing. Whereas my beds, either in the ground or raised beds, they're all smaller beds. They're the longest bed, depending on which way I plant it, is 6 or 7 feet long. Otherwise, they're all 4 feet or less in length. So that's what I do. I take a scrap piece of wood and I lay it down and I just plant all right beside them. When I planted the lettuce and the carrots, I took a board and I just did a sawing motion, made my little trench, and then poured all my seeds out and then covered it back up. It works great.
nice. Yeah, because like normally in the last place I lived last year, the garden was a lot smaller, and I used a couple of sticks and string, and then I would just run it out, tighten the string, hammer the sticks into the ground, the stakes, and plant along the string. But this year I found this big nice long stick. Kind of works pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Anything that keeps it straight and I can plant next to. For the string, it seemed like I would always step on it or something, and then next thing you know, the string's all spewed across the ground. It wasn't straight at all. Yeah. So anyway, we got a few more. I don't know. I hope this ain't boring you guys, but it was fun to make. My dogs joined in too a little bit.
Well, if it was my video, I would have the rooster and the turkey in the video with me. They would be right there beside me.
My soil is pretty hard. It's got a lot of clay in it. I think Lucky Stone had said something about clay. There's a nice dirt layer, but there is a bunch of clay in there, and makes it a little hard to dig.
See, it's not like Georgia clay though. I wish I could show you. Georgia clay is orange red clay, and it's everywhere. You look at that, and I'm sure you're right. It probably is clay, but when I look at it, I see lush, rich soil because it's not what we deal with down here. That's for sure.
It's a slow process, people, but I got a blister out of it. It was a lot of it's enjoying to do this stuff. I mean, really.
It really is. I've got my nephew's wife. I've gotten her hooked on gardening. She called me earlier this evening when I was sitting down to eat dinner because she was all excited because she had her first squash growing, and she wanted to video call me and show it to me because it was a couple inches long already, and she had just found it, and she was so excited. It's her first garden.
Oh wow, nice. That's nice when you can get excited from gardening.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I do, and I mean, I'm excited to put it. I might even take a vacation day this week just to garden. Why not? I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, other people they'll take vacation days to go do crazy stuff. I'm taking a day to garden. I'm a little behind though. I gotta plant a lot of the seed stuff and the potatoes, but I got a big cultivator that I can put behind the tractor, and it's got big tines on it, and I'll just have to stick it in the ground and then just plow it, and then I'll just put the potatoes in that way, which will be easy. It'll take, once I get the cultivator hooked up, it's on a 3-point hitch, and
so how do you harvest your potatoes then?
With a big pitchfork,
With a pitchfork? Okay.
Yeah, you stick it in and flip them up, and hopefully it works good in this soil. Should. I mean, I when I lived in Wisconsin, everything was sandy, so yeah, it worked really good, and they grow a lot of potatoes in Wisconsin. That's one of the big harvest things. So here we go again. We got some more stuff, and again, the dog's watching me. He's pretty loyal. He sticks right around. The other two, they're there too, keeping me company. I got a little fertilizer. I didn't put any in on these, but I did buy an apple tree, and I put a little bit on in that. I guess that's all that's in that one.
Oh, we've got 6 apples on the 2 different apple trees. We've got 2 Granny Smith apple trees that my oldest son bought about, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, and they haven't produced. And so I watched some videos, and back in January, February, I pruned both of the trees, and then he came behind me and pruned them again. And this is the first year we've got apples growing. We've got about 5 or 6 apples between the 2 trees growing. So we're excited about that.
Nice. All right, we're gonna plant those cabbages now, I guess. Oops, shoot, I hit that wrong button again. Why do I keep doing that? Because it's right in the way. Okay.
And last we got cauliflower.
Self-blanching too.
Interesting. Cauliflower. Let's get planting. These plants look pretty healthy. I got a 3-pack here. Ain't that nice? Pretty good. Let's get planted. As you can see, I got most of the rows already planted. Tomatoes.
You can see it's a pretty big sized garden.
Cabbage.
That is a big garden. I love it.
I put everything pretty far apart because I got lots of room.
It looks pretty good.
I probably way overplanted, but
that's all right.
I'm gonna give a lot of it away. That's kind of my thing. Like, I'm gonna have more than I need. How crazy am I? Oh,
No,
gee.
I see. I think that's great. I mean, because you always plant more than what you need, right? Because you never know what's going to get eaten by the bugs or what's going to die from drought or disease or something. And then if you still have extra, you give it away, to somebody that will eat it. I
Oh, yeah.
um I grew cauliflower last year for the first time, and that didn't go very well. So it died before it was ready to harvest. I'm not
Oh,
sure exactly what happened. If it was just got too hot for it here in the Georgia sun, or if it just couldn't keep enough water in the soil for it. But it got real close to harvest, and then all of a sudden, it went from being ready to pick or thinking it was almost ready to pick to being rotten.
yeah. The cauliflower out here, I've grown some heads that are almost half the size of a basketball. Beautiful heads of cauliflower.
Wow.
I mean, they
Yeah.
just do their own thing, and I mean, more than enough. I can't even eat it all. Like one head, I'm like, by the time I'm halfway through, I'm sick of cauliflower.
I love taking cauliflower and slicing it up and putting a little olive oil or butter in the skillet, and just kind of sauteing it a little bit. That's probably one of my favorite ways to eat it on there. I've always wanted to learn how to mash it up and make it into like a noodle almost, or a way to put it into, like, instead of macaroni and cheese, cauliflower and cheese kind of scenario
Well, now
or
now
something.
that you got that freeze dryer, you just freeze dry your cauliflower, then you make it into a powder, and you can use it as a flour and like bake with
Oh,
it.
yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, I love
I mean,
that.
you can see, like, well, if you go in the store and you see some of these things that say, gluten free, that's all made with it'll say it's made with a cauliflower flour, you know.
Okay.
So that's what they do. They just freeze dry it, then they grind it, and there you go. You got flour, and they don't have all that gluten in it.
Nice.
You got the perfect machine for it too now.
Yeah. Now that freeze dryer does make a lot of heat in the room. Whatever room you end up setting it up in, just know that you're going to need some fans, or, like, we don't usually run the air conditioner in our house, even though it gets really hot. We use fans, and we'll turn a window air conditioner unit on. And we don't turn them on that often, but we have it in the basement, and it's a finished basement, and it got really hot, so I had to have two fans going to kind of circulate that heat around.
I have a building outside, and I'm going to put it in there, its own little building, and it's got two windows and a big door, and I can leave those open. And with the winds we have around here, even if it's hot, it'll never get hot in there. The wind will be constantly blowing in, so it'll be well ventilated, and I won't have to listen to the noise or nothing.
It doesn't make very much noise. I mean, it makes noise, but it doesn't make a lot of noise. So,
Yeah.
but just remember, you can't forget about it. You're going to have to check on it regularly, because sometimes they will throw a code. Maybe the door's not shut all the way, or the gasket for some reason doesn't seal or something on there. So you have to kind of watch that. And there's two settings when you read your instructions, pay attention to. You can add freeze time, so that if you can't pre-freeze something before you put it in there, like you can't put it on a tray and freeze it in a freezer, a deep freezer, or stand-up freezer, then you want to put extra freeze time on there at the beginning. And then you want to change your drying time setting and add 12 hours to it. So that way, if it finishes in the middle of the night while it's drying or while you're at work, it's going to add 12 hours to it. And so it'll still be good when you get home. It would be awful to be at a long shift of work. It finishes its cycle and it shuts down, and then all of a sudden you get home 6 or 8 hours later and it's no good anymore after all that time you spent on it.
Oh,
I think your internet froze up, Robert.
dang internet. I'm like, what the?
There,
I hit the button. I'm like, everything went away. It's just one of
There
those
it
bad
goes.
internet nights.
Cilantro right there. Looks all right. I'm gonna plant that. I'm gonna plant this up in my flower bed.
This is one of those ones I had to
Area.
tear the plant apart,
Right
like you were
here.
talking about. See, I got the
Right.
raised beds there too.
oh yeah, you do. Is that parsley you're about to plant?
Cilantro.
Cilantro. Okay.
Here. Nice. Soil's nice. Wet. Just dump this box. Here. I think there's a couple of them in here. Maybe I'll break them apart. Yeah, just break these things apart. Like that. There's 2 or 3 of them in here. Hope they don't die. I got 1, 2 plants. 3, 4. Got 4 of them. So I'll plant them down in here. Cover them up pretty good. There's 1. There's 2. Hope they grow. I never grew cilantro before, but give you all
Yep, never grew cilantro before.
else.
Now I've never grown cilantro either, but I did hear one of the garden videos that people I follow on YouTube. They were talking about once it starts getting too hot, and he's in Kentucky or Illinois, it'll die out on him.
Probably can grow together. So
Oh, it's cold here all the time.
there we go.
Even when it's hot, it gets cold.
Pretty good. Yeah, there we go. I'll give them some water later, and
Yeah, see, I got one of those leak hoses or whatever they are.
Yeah.
Them hoses, and that drains right into the beds.
good mixture of soil.
Do you have a rain catchment system? Do you catch any rainwater?
And
No.
they should be good.
No, it just comes right out of the well.
There,
I got to do the
There's our cilantro.
raised beds there. I still haven't done them yet.
all looking good.
I'm working on them. I'm working on it. This is just my first year here, so it's been one of them, working on it as I go kind of thing. Plus, I got all these other things to do.
Trust you me, I know. I'm building new rabbit cages. I built 3 last weekend. I've got to build some more tomorrow. So
What kind of rabbit cages what kind of rabbits do you raise? I want to raise some rabbits myself. I got chickens and ducks and horses, but I'd like to get some rabbits. Rabbits are real good self-sustaining kind of thing. I've raised rabbits before, but
I've just got California meat rabbits. So I've got like 12 of them. But the cages are all getting older, and a couple of them, their urine is so toxic, it's finally had rusted out the bottom of the sides. So I replaced 3 of those last weekend. I built brand new ones and put those in there. And I was fortunate enough, I built a bird aviary a few years ago, and we used stainless steel welded wire, 1/2-inch mesh to keep the finches and the canaries and stuff in the bird aviary. And I had leftovers, so I kept it because that stainless steel wire was super expensive. And I thought, well, I can find something to do with this eventually, right? Why throw it away? And so I use that for the bottoms of my rabbit cages. And man, that was great, because the cages that I'm going to rebuild tomorrow, I can reuse the bottoms. The bottoms still look brand new, you know. The poop gets stuck sometimes, so you have to clean it off a little bit. But other than that, you know, it held up great. So I'm going to eventually rebuild a whole new rabbitry setup. But yeah, we love them. You know, I've kind of got out of breeding them the last 9 months. I haven't bred them. I've just let them be, and I haven't harvested the ones that need to be harvested. But, you know, I'll probably get to that when it gets closer to the end of June. I'll probably harvest, you know, 6 or 8 of them and go from there. But yeah.
Nice. Oh yeah, now I'm making me want. I got to build some rabbit cage. I'm going to build a rabbit cage before I buy the rabbits. Oh, let's go on.
California Wonder bell peppers. I got sweet bell peppers. Look at that. Don't they look nice? And over here, I got some more peppers. And these are full sun. Yep. What do we got? Full sun. Vegetable peppers, looks like yellow ones. Yellow bell peppers is Golden California Wonder. Okay, well, we'll take it as that. We'll get started planting these the same way. Do most all the rest of the stuff. Get my handy tool. And
you can tell how big the garden is.
Yeah, it's huge.
It is huge. I haven't used it, but maybe a quarter of it yet.
Are you going to plant any corn or anything like that?
Oh yeah. I'll have probably 3-4 rows of corn, a lot of potatoes. Still got to get the carrots and the melons in and things like that.
I put them about
pickles
3 steps apart, I'm guessing.
So I finally found out why my corn didn't do well last year. I planted sunflowers close to it, and the sunflowers have a tendency to leach a lot of nutrients and toxins out of the soil. So I had them planted too close to my corn, and my corn didn't fully develop. I only had small half ears of sweet corn.
Oh, really?
And yeah, until a couple of weeks ago, I couldn't figure out why that happened. So I hadn't planted any corn yet this year. But now that I know that, I'm going to plant some corn and just not put the sunflowers close to them.
Yeah, I guess. Don't plant the sunflowers next to the corn. I didn't know that, but makes good sense.
Get down here and dig our little hole wherever it might lead.
So I'm putting them about three foot apart, 3 of my feet apart. So that's kind of how I'm judging it from row to row, because I got lots of room.
Pull one of these out, and I break up the roots on the bottom a little bit, and I smoosh them a little bit. Put it in there, cover up some of the soil.
It makes my heart happy to see you break those roots apart.
Ah, there you go. Yeah. See how easy it is to just plant stuff, people. Just go out there and plant something.
Looking pretty happy there.
Look at that. It looks like it's been growing there for years.
Well,
it does.
It grows nice, and I just got to finish out the rest of these.
Well, there we go. That was that. Hot diggity dog. Well,
most people, I think, just don't realize how simple it really can be. I mean, you can just take 5-gallon buckets and wash them out, clean them out really good, and you can grow in the 5-gallon bucket. You know, you can put some holes in the bottom of it so any excess water drains out, and, you know, fill it with some soil and plant in it and grow.
Yeah, Yeah, or a bag like your potatoes.
Oh,
Put them in a
yeah.
bag. I love that.
Yep.
I'm going to try that. I got lots of potatoes to plant. I love planting potatoes. They're the best crop ever. If I had one thing to plant, I'd probably plant potatoes. That's the only
There
thing
you
I
go.
can, you know. They grow easy. They're easy to plant. You throw them in the ground, they pretty much grow. You can't stop them, you know, and they grow, and then you just dig them up. You know, sometimes you get potato. We don't get much for potato beetles here, so pretty lucky.
That's
Pretty
good.
lucky.
Can you grow sweet potatoes there?
No, they just don't grow.
Okay. So, like here, I found I have to keep them in pots. So I have them in big, like 25, 30 gallon, or they may even be bigger than that. They're big pots. You couldn't see them in the dark, but they're really big pots, because if I grow them in a bed, when they spill over, everywhere the leaves start touching the ground at, you'll grow sweet potatoes. And
really?
the very first year I grew sweet potatoes, I did it just to try because I saw them at the store, and I bought a 6-pack of them. And I was literally digging up potatoes out of the clay in the grass because they were starting to pop up out of the ground. And I had so many sweet potatoes that year, and they were absolutely huge, bigger than what you'd find in the grocery store. And they were so good. We had sweet potato pie. No, not sweet potato pie. We made sweet potato casserole with them for Thanksgiving and Christmas that year, and still had a lot left over. And I gave a bunch away too.
Yeah. Grandpa Brian says sweet potatoes need it hot. We don't have hot weather here, so they just don't have that chance to grow. But last but not least, you can't finish anything off unless you plant some flowers to draw in the bees and the hummingbirds and the bugs and all that good stuff. So
I finished the day planting flowers. Got to attract those hummingbirds and bees. Variety of colors, because the hummingbirds like red. We'll just see what happens when the summer comes.
I was pretty busy.
Yes, you were.
A little variety of everything in there. You gotta have good stuff.
There's the tractor.
Hanging pots, plants, stuff like that. Don't you just love these colors?
Yeah, I love the color. Those are pretty.
Yeah, they are pretty.
Yeah, but anyway, a little bit of that. Got stuff. I try to get a little good variety of everything. So I hope that everybody enjoyed some of this stuff, because, hey, and Andrew, thank you for coming on tonight. This has been a great share, and I'm going to put in those potato bags, and try something like that. Why not?
Yeah, I think you'll find that, they grow really good and they're easy to harvest,
Yeah. It just says that what it's telling me that you don't have to have a big area like you got. You don't have a big area, but yet you're making good with all the space that you have. The little area, and you got raised beds, potatoes in bags, trellises for all this stuff to crawl up. You got rabbits and chickens and all of that stuff in a real small area. What did you say, quarter acre?
Well, that's the whole lot. That is a quarter acre with the house, with the above ground swimming pool, with the driveway, the storage building, all that. So, the amount of space we have plants in is far less than that. So it's, for me, I feel like it's a shame that it's so late on the East Coast that you can't see everything, because, I tell people about it, and I don't have the prettiest yard in the world. Don't get me wrong. I don't, but I do try and cram a lot in a tight space so that we can get as much as possible out of it. So, you know, a little raised bed beside the driveway, another bed that runs between the carport and the driveway, and said forth and so on everywhere you go. And flowers, there's flowers all over the place. You know, we save the seeds from the marigolds and the zinnias, and I've got all those growing that we started from seeds off of plants that we bought at the store last year. And we got some nasturtium growing, and the deck has little planter boxes that I built with strawberries and some thyme and herbs and stuff in it. And I've got 2 huge fig trees that the client gave me about 2 years ago, and they're about 10 feet tall now. They really should have been pruned, but I didn't get to it during the winter.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, is I had some strawberries out here, but most all of them froze. I got me some new ones. I had them covered with hay, but I don't know. I might have to cover them even more with hay or something to get them come back. I'm not sure what to do. Kind of guesstimation there, you know.
Yeah. With strawberries, I think this year I finally decided I'm not buying any more bare root strawberries, because I have not had luck with them. I've ordered them online. I bought them at the store, and I got one to sprout a few weeks ago. And then we're already up close to 90 or higher some days here in Georgia. It's steadily in the 80s and up to 90 already. And it died, you know. The only strawberries I've got are about a dozen or 2 dozen strawberry plants that were actual plants that we bought at the store, or I propagated from plants we grew last year.
Yeah, that's what I bought. I bought some more plants this year. I bought about 3 plants, and one popped up from last year. So plant them all together and see what happens. You know,
There you
maybe
go.
throw some more thicker hay over it so the ground don't freeze. I didn't show everybody about there's some raspberries out there and things like that too, but maybe that's for another video.
There you go. Absolutely.
Send me some pictures of your garden as it grows, and we'll do another show, an update show later on. This summer or something like that. How's that?
Okay, sounds good.
So yeah, I'll have you back on, and it'll be a lot of fun. Be a lot of fun. I want to thank everybody for coming on tonight. Grandpa Brian, everybody in chat, Bridget O'Higgins, and let's see, Nina the Mystic. Mary Wins joined us tonight, along with who else is here? Trying to see who's in chat. Scotty Boy was here. I think everybody went. Jackie J was in the house tonight. I think a lot of people headed over to Max Vision Remote View class. Max Vision was here too. Come to join us tonight. Thank you. Big shout out to everybody. Lucky Stone. He says those were some amazing container ideas. Yeah, Lucky. He's got rocky soil there in Massachusetts area. Anyway, so maybe he should try some of the the bag stuff. You know, why not? His wife's got a whole bunch of potted plants around the house. And Steve Bowe, he decided to join us, but I think these guys were a little early. My time was off today. Sorry, everybody, if the computer didn't want to cooperate with me and said I was going to be on at 5 o'clock. It was still 9 o'clock. I don't know what happened in the translation, but when I pinned it up there, I tried to do it early, and somehow it didn't work. So, but anyway, it is what it is. So join me. I'll be on again with Nina here pretty soon. Tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, we're going to be talking about the GG. Tomorrow night, live at 6 p.m. So it should be 8 p.m. Central Time. So we'll be on there. And then, of course, on Tuesday, back at 9 o'clock, like always, Native American Myths and Legends with me and David Null, where we'll be telling stories, pulling cards, and talking about whatever. I think this week it's Wooden Leg. I'm going to be doing Wooden Leg. He is the next guy up on the list. I got a new book I've been reading. It's here somewhere. But anyway, and all about him. So check us out tomorrow night as we talk about the Ajiji. It's kind of interesting. I've been doing my research as I always do, and I think it's really appreciative thing. Kind of, it feels a good feeling when you do your research, even when you're doing the gardening. Research your plants a little bit. Look into it. Look at your soil. I bought a gardening book and it was just for North Dakota because the soil here and the wind and everything is so bad. Somebody wrote a gardening book, how to garden in North Dakota, because it's crazy. So good to whoever that was. But I'll have to do another show on that. But anyway, with that, everyone, go over and check out Max Vision Remote View class. He's up next. Improve your mind. Go over there, do a little remote viewing, and say hello to Max for me. And with that, thank you, Andrew. Come on tonight. Spur of the moment, but it was great anyway. We winged it.
Thanks for having me.
That's always the best show. With that, everybody, go out and do something nice for your neighbor. It's always self-fulfilling. And if you don't do it for them today, grow a garden. Give them some vegetables in a later date, and you'll be appreciative the whole time you're doing it. It's good for you, and it's good for them too. With that, everyone, be the frequency you want to receive. Love you all. Peace, everybody.